I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And I am 8 minutes late to the live stream. I do have it scheduled on Instagram. So the topic today is my ex contacted me, but they have a partner now. This was actually a requested topic from a person that comes regularly on the live stream, Miss Keisha, also AKA Aloha. She had asked me about this question about a week ago, I believe. And so I did note it. And if you do, at the end, if you do stick around for the live streams, you do have or you want to put it in the comments below. If you do have a topic you want me to touch on in the live stream, I will get to it if I think it's relevant or I think it's something that many people would share with you. So I thought this was an interesting one. My ex contacted me, but they have a partner now. If you want to check out my Instagram, it's Coach Mac McCarthy. If you'd like to give me a like, that's fine, or not like. Have an opinion is better than not having an opinion. If you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the red button. I will be doing live streams, not every day this week, 5 days this week. The schedule is listed on Instagram. And for this week, actually, tomorrow is actually going to be all my time listed are going to be times for Indochina time. So please keep that in mind. And tomorrow will be why won't my ex contact me? And that'll be an interesting one. That's going to be actually 7 p.m. Indochina time. So the reason I've done one at a different time, there's a lot of clients or supporters of the channel say, hey, I want to catch a live stream, but the times that you go on, it's never good for me. So tomorrow will be a different time, and I'm doing that on purpose just to serve you, the viewer. So my ex contacted me, but they have a partner now. Let's unpack this a little bit. And the way I've unpacked it, if that's a word. It's not a word. The reality is, what do you want? Be honest. So your ex contacts you, and here's the thing that about a situation or a question like this. I do need to know your story to give you tailored advice that suits you as an individual, because your interpretation of the events are important. What went down, the twists, the turns, and what have you are going to vary. And so what you really need to get in touch with, what do you want? Be honest. Your ex contacts you. You're thinking, ooh, this is great. I've been waiting for this. Ooh, I can't believe they contacted me. I totally forgot about them. And then you have to think to yourself, do I want to be friends with them? Do I not want to be friends with them? Do I want to possibly turn this into something? What's up, Jasper J? Turn this into something bigger. Initially, when they do contact you, there is going to be an objective of why you answer the call or don't answer the call. And you have to just, like, people don't ask themselves this question enough in an honest way. What do I really want? What are my intentions in answering this call? How do you feel talking again? So you answer the phone, your ex reaches out. Are you aware? This is, a broad, generalized question like this. Are you aware they already have a partner, or do they tell you right off the bat? So how do you feel talking again? Are there butterflies? Are you nervous? Are you annoyed? So immediately when you talk to that individual, you will have some kind of emotion or feeling. And be honest with yourself. What's up, Rob? I think you like the schedule that's being posted. So now you don't have to just depend on the YouTube notification. So what do you want? Be honest with yourself. How did you feel talking again? And if you had this question come up, my ex contacted me, they have a partner now, and you're thinking, what should I do? It's kind of a sticky situation. If you were to come to me with it, these are the questions I would ask you, because this is how we're going to unpack this thing. How did you feel talking again? Butterflies, nervous, annoyed, angry, and you'll know in the first 5 minutes, okay? And I'm going to come to a point at the end of these questions where I'm going to give you a scenario and a situation I was in with an ex that did contact me and was with someone. And then I'll unpack the questions that I went through right here in my own situation. How did you feel talking again? Did they talk about their new partner, good or bad way? This is really significant, because if they're coming to you to unload some crap about their new partner, is that the role you want to play? I mean, you certainly could. Obviously, I'm a breakup coach. I kind of have a sickness for listening to people's problems with their breakups, and I somehow enjoy it, and I like giving feedback. So for me, if an ex came to me and I didn't have feelings for them any longer, and they asked me some things or they asked my opinion, it might be okay with me, and most likely would be. If I still had feelings for them, it would be more difficult. Yeah. But you have to ask yourself, if they're going to talk about their new partner in a good or bad way, what's your reaction to that? How do you feel about it? In most cases, I would say no. Petty Betty. I like the name change and the picture, hon. You know them better than me. Why did they really call you? This is a fucking great question. Think about that for a minute. Someone will be like, why do you think they called me? I don't know. You were in a relationship with them for 2, 3, 5 years. You actually really know better than I do, don't you? Well, I know John, he's just reaching out because his relationship's bad. If you know the person, you know their morals, their values, their identity, who they are, what they're about, you probably know better than me why they called you. And if you don't, because you haven't been in contact in a year, 2 years, 3 years, you probably will know within the first 5, 6 minutes and how they talk about their current partner. Because the reason you know they have a partner is they're telling you, correct or not correct? So, what are they telling you? And this is something that I've developed being a teacher over the years and being a breakup coach for the last 3 years is active listening. And I think this is something that people, especially from the younger generation, have more trouble with. And certainly when I was in my early 20s, I wasn't nearly as good a listener. People really tell you who they are by their actions, but they also tell you what they feel and what they think by what they say. For example, a joke, right? And I consider myself that likes to joke a lot and be sarcastic. A joke is actually half true. Someone says, "Oh, I'm just joking," right? Actually, for example, if I see someone in the gym, this happened recently, and the guy's pretty big, and playfully joking, I'm like, "Yeah, you're on roids," and the guy got kind of pissed off, right? It's half true. Because in my head, I'm like, you look like you're on steroids. You look like it, right? Now, when I throw that out there playfully in a joking way, I'm not doing it to hurt you, but the interpretation of the individual might be like, oh, you don't think this is real? I don't like when people do steroids. Here's the funny thing. I had a good friend. This is about 2 years ago. And he was moving away and we met for breakfast. I said, hey, man, let's just get breakfast and catch up. And, I know you're moving away in a little while and see how things are going and whatnot. And this guy was like, he was already in pretty good shape. And he was just like, his collar was bulging out. He obviously put on like 10 pounds of muscle. And so I kind of was like, what are you on roids or something? So when you say that jokingly, but it's half true. Why am I telling you this? Because if you really listen to people when they're half joking or when they throw out a situation where they say, they're actually telling you their thoughts. And so here's the interesting part. That guy from 2 years ago was a buddy of mine, highly secure individual. He's like, yeah, no, I've been doing them for about 3 months. I'm like, what? Really? He goes, yeah, man. He goes, I've developed a way. And I'm not advocating anyone to do steroids, just to full disclosure. That's not what I'm saying. He just was saying that he did them and he was able to get them legally in some way. And he went on for an hour. And so I playfully threw that out there. He took it as like, yeah, no, you're right. That's why I put on the weight. This other individual about a week ago that I said it to got pissed. He got his feelings hurt. And he was just like, oh, that's something that someone would say if they wanted to fight someone. Interpretation. Both times I said it, I was half joking, half serious, like you look like you're on roids. Now, someone could take it as a compliment that they look like buff or strong. Someone else could take it as a insult that you don't believe that they do things cleanly. So active listening involves you sorting through what they're telling you and asking questions that are going to get to the bottom of things. Do you have someone yourself would be my next question. If you have someone yourself and you're picking up the phone and you're like, oh, hey, what's going on? How you been? Rita, it's been so long, whatever, right? And you're with someone that currently probably wouldn't like you talking to your ex, you have to be honest with yourself. They're calling you up. They have a new partner and you have a new partner. And if you start to talk about your partner, they talk about their partner. Is this one of those things where it's just a catch up? Or is this one of those things where it's a feeler? I would say in most scenarios, if your ex reaches out of the blue, they've been thinking about you. And it doesn't mean they want you back. They're curious. They still have some sort of feelings for you and think of you in some positive way, or they would not contact you just to give you shit. They're a devious individual, and they're just putting a feeler out there. And if the partner immediately says something like, "Oh, I'm with someone, I've been married," dot dot dot, then they're telling you, "Hey, yeah, I'm taken." Did they change Did they change, or circumstances change? So you broke up for a reason. You had issues. You had problems, and now that you've been reacquainted by a phone call, and you took the phone call, so obviously you don't not want to talk to them again. You took the phone call. They tell you there was someone new. You go through your feelings. You go through those questions, and now they're maybe bad mouthing their current partner. They're maybe going to break up. This, that, and the other. Ask yourself, did this person change in a better way? Have they grown since the breakup? This is kind of an interesting thing to think about. Or are they the same person with the same circumstances, which means that you probably wouldn't work anyways. And so the current conversation you're having isn't going to go anywhere intimate or romantic or long term. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so let me get into the live stream. Let me know if you have any questions about this or you've witnessed this yourself. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate it. We've got 12 on deck. Also, let me know if it helps the fact that I put the schedule on Instagram. And is there somewhere else that you'd like the schedule put that would help you out? My ex contacted me, but they have a partner now. Has this happened to you? What did you do? This is going to be the next part of this live stream that I'm going to unpack. It has happened to me. I'll tell you this story in a minute. Petty Betty, like I said, good picture. It's so interesting because you can't really see the picture, but this one that you did, Petty Betty's good. Comfort level is why they call. Corey Wayne has talked about this situation a few times. What do you mean by comfort level? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I missed it. The one thing is to not move forward as a friend if you want more. I agree 100%. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with your intentions. If they talk about their partner in a good or bad way, it doesn't matter. It's best not to engage in that at all. Honestly, Rob, it just depends on your intentions and what you want. So I'll talk about this when I'm going to unpack the situation that I had happen in the past. If someone thinks one day they may be back in the mix, yeah, like I said, in most cases they're sending out a feeler of where are you now? Could this be revisited? There's also the situation where someone could have just had a travesty in the family, or is travesty even the right word? A situation where someone passed away. We had a mutual friend that passed away, or you have, a wildfire, an earthquake, a tsunami hits. This is the time you reach out to people sometimes that you care about. And in those particular situations, it would be a little different. I don't think that everyone's just looking to get back with you. Sometimes they're just, hey, you are a significant part of my life. I just want to know how you're doing. Again, this would come into play of knowing the individual's character better than I do. Mochi Perez. Hi, Coach. Quick shout out from SoCal. Love your channel. Appreciate all your videos. I'm learning so much. Thank you for doing these videos for us broken hearts. Right on, Mochi. I like the name. What part of SoCal are you from, or do you live in? I did do some time in San Diego for almost 3.5, 4 years. Lived in PB and Mission Beach. Loved it. Thanks for the support. Mochi, please feel free to join my Instagram page or what have you. And I got a lot of photos from Phuket on there. I'm actually doing a lot of videos that are going to come on the channel this month, because you haven't seen a lot of new content like that. I did 20 videos. I got a cameraman who's going to be my right-hand man with moving forward as far as making content. So the videos that are going to come on this month, they're going to be on the beach. They're going to be at a hotel I went to in Phuket town. So a lot of you are asking me more stuff about that. And the sound isn't as good as it could be because we're on location in different spots, but I think you'll find it really cool where I visited. So how to get a ex to chase, acting distant and cold, now been hot for a while, now cold. Brandon Salsa, is that a question? I'm not sure. Can you put that in a question? How to get an ex to chase, acting distant and cold, now been hot for a while, now cold. I mean, can you elaborate on that? I'm a little confused the way you worded that, Brandon. It's so funny. I know a Brennan, I know a Brendan, and I know Brandon. Have you ever met those 4 different? It's so difficult, right? Brendan, Brennan, Brendan. There's 3 different ways of that name's put together. I guess they're all different. Yes, put the schedule on the YouTube community section. Okay. And here's the good thing. When I have a schedule up, even though I was 8 minutes late, this is so funny. Today, I'm answering emails. I'm talking to some people in a coaching session. I'm doing a bunch of things in the morning, right? And then I go, okay, I got 5 minutes. I'm going to go online. I'm going to do my live stream. And the power bails out for 2 minutes. Shit happens, right? So YouTube community page. I'm going to write this down. YouTube community section. Post a schedule. Okay. Thanks for that, Rob. I appreciate you, buddy. Long time, but glad to catch up. Todd Whitmore, you're a legend. I know it. You know it. Please let me know what you think about this topic. If you've had it happen before, have you had an ex reach out and they had a partner and then you said, what's this all mean? That's what we're unpacking today. What's up, David Jeffers? Hope you're well, buddy. Glad to hear. I hope you're good too. Okay, everyone's communicating well. Brendan, go ahead and rephrase that question that you have because, like I said, I'm a little confused. So I got 13 on deck. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate it. My ex contacted me, but they have a partner now. I do have a story to tell. Do you want to hear my story? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So my story is this. I had an ex once upon a time, and basically, this ex, we were together. I believe it was 2+ years. And the reason why I'm a little puzzled on that is we did break up once and we did have long distance for a year. Everyone, oh God, I would never do long distance. It was the circumstances were the circumstances. But I've gone into that in other live streams and different videos and different bits and pieces. But we're going to stay on topic right now, right here, with my ex contacting me. They had a partner now. So this particular ex, we broke up while in a long distance relationship. So to be honest with you, it wasn't as hard. It was difficult because she was a catch. She was a good one. We had a good relationship. It was just the distance, and we weren't willing to move to each other's cities. And we were about a 2.5-hour plane ride apart for a year. It got old, and I think both of us strayed a bit, but she was willing to keep it long distance, and I wasn't willing to make the daily calls or daily check-ins as much as I was doing it early on, and that was the beginning of the end of the relationship. She had enough. I respected that. So when we broke up, we didn't talk for a little while, and then I think about a month or 2 months later, I felt completely comfortable contacting her, seeing how she was doing, because when you're in long distance, and I'm not going to speak for all long distance people, but in my particular situation, I think that when you go into a breakup, your relationship is in a lot of ways friend-based, because you're doing a lot of things that lack intimacy and affection. And so you don't lose that aspect of the breakup as much as you do when you lived with someone, or you lived 10 or 15 minutes apart and you were hooking up regularly, you were seeing each other, you were in each other's presence regularly. And so I found it a lot easier to pivot out of that relationship. And I actually got into a new relationship quite quickly. That was a good one. That was a good one, to be honest. That being said, she got out of the relationship and got into a new relationship within a month with an ex she had prior to me, which was shocking because she didn't have very good things to say about this ex when we were together, and it didn't seem like he treated her very well. But it was up to her. I didn't chime in too much. We stayed in contact. Like I said, maybe once a month, once every couple months, and it would be like a catch up. How you been? How's work? How's your family and stuff like that. And I'll be honest with you folks, I didn't have any intention of getting back together. It was honest. It was friendly. It was caring. I did absolutely care about this woman, still do from a distance. And so she would contact me from time to time. And like I said, this went on, even though she told me that she met her ex and this and that. And I didn't feel like she was telling me it to rub it in my face. We had a very honest relationship, and it just didn't affect me in that way. Someone else would be like, oh, that's fucked up. I think it didn't affect me as much because I was seeing someone else myself. Now, that being said, when I was seeing someone new, I didn't throw that in her face. She even asked, and I was like, I'm not really going to go there with you because I thought she would be more sensitive to it. And so I chose not to bring up who I was with and what was going on in that part of my life. That being said, I am a breakup coach. I somehow have a sixth sense for people talking to me about their breakups. That's why I got into this in the first place. I've had friends and family members, colleagues come to me in the past and like to talk to me about their breakups and their relationships. I don't know why, but I'm quite accepting of it. And like I said, in some sick way, I think I enjoy unpacking relationships because of my situation over 10 years ago and where I was at and where I came out of it. I have a soft spot for people like that and a lot of compassion. And I have a lot of knowledge on it. So she started talking to me about her new boyfriend, which was her ex before, briefly. I didn't bite on that. So one time she calls me up, and this is, like I said, maybe a year after we broke up. Maybe a year after we broke up. There was some time in between us breaking up and then. And like I said, we talked maybe once every couple months. There was no hard feelings in those talks. It was just some catch up and this and that. She calls me up. We're talking about work and different things. She tells me her boyfriend at the time got caught talking to another girl at a cafe. So let me. This might be a little confusing. So basically, what happened was they had gone to a restaurant together regularly that was like their restaurant. You know what I mean? That the staff knew her very well, and the staff liked her and was with her. And which was an idiotic move. He came to that same restaurant with one of his buddies and two women. So his buddy, who I don't remember specifically, was single, I believe. They brought two girls to that restaurant. I don't know the situation, if that girl was just a friend of the other girl or what. Bottom line is the manager and the waitress of that restaurant immediately told my ex-girlfriend. So she was pissed. She was embarrassed. And she was really upset. She almost took it as he cheated on her. So, of course, he himself and she was just a friend and nothing happened. Da, 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 da. So she told me about it and she was upset. And I played neutral. I was, I said, look, it could have just been his friend. It could have been this. And she was, like I said, she was pissed. She was upset. It was almost like she felt like she caught him in bed with someone. And I was like, I mean, it's very possible that his friend took a girl on a date and the friend brought a friend. This comes down to trust. Her next part was, I'd like to visit you soon. I'd like to see you. And I paused for a minute and I said, so it went from, I have troubles with my partner right now. I'm upset with him. I don't like that he did this. I listened to that. I give an objective opinion, almost like a breakup coach. And I didn't, and by the way, I didn't demean the guy or anything like that, because I looked at it from an angle that, like I said, this isn't just cut and clear that he was cheating on you. She wants to come visit me. Like I said, it's like a 2.5 hour plane ride from where she's from. She's like, I'd like to see you. I'm with someone at this point. She asked me, are you seeing anyone right now? Obviously, she's interested in possibly revisiting things with me. Now, here's the thing. Number one, I was with someone I was happy with. I didn't want to rub that in her face because she was unhappy with who she was with. I didn't want to answer those questions, and I didn't want that to be a part of our current relationship out of the breakup. So what I did was I said, I don't really like to talk about those things with you. I don't know if it's a good idea for you to come visit at this point. I believe I did say I am seeing someone. And it was a judgment call on my end, because if she came to visit, I know how good our connection was. I know how much we cared about each other. And I knew at the end, when we broke up in the long distance relationship, the distance was the problem. It wasn't anything else. We had attraction. We had trust. We had care. We had good chemistry. She loved me. I loved her. Distance will do that. Okay. It's not in human nature to be long distance for too long. So if she came to visit, it wouldn't have been a visit like, oh, let's just be friends. I knew that. And I took the high road and I said to myself, don't even entertain it. Was I flattered? Yeah. Did I feel good about it? Yeah. But I said, look, I don't think it's a good idea. I I understand what you're going through with this guy right now, or you're upset about that, but this isn't a reason for you to break up with him. But here's the interesting thing. She wasn't even broken up with him yet. So she was already trying to, line up something else going on and seeing if there was another option or we could revisit things. Now, I think about 2 years later, a year and a half later, I don't know the time frames of this. Like I said, we'd become more distant after that point, but every few months we would maybe catch up and have a chat. And I was okay with that. Someone says you can't be friends with your ex. Yeah, you can, as long as you're okay with being friends, as long as you don't have a hidden agenda. And usually, I would say that if you have someone new that you're happy with, then you could be friends with them because you don't look at them to fill that void. Everyone's different, so everyone likes to generalize from their standpoint, from their point of view. The reality is different strokes for different folks, okay? And there's no one size fits all for relationships. So for me, I was genuinely caring and thoughtful and knowing how she was doing and talking to her once every few months. And then one time we talked and she said, look, I'm getting married. She married that same guy and we probably won't talk again. I accepted that because she was basically like, I don't want to do this while I'm getting married. It's not fair. We stay in contact. That was a judgment call on her end. And I think in the years since then, we've touched base maybe once through a message, and she had a baby recently. So I'm very happy for her. But that's my little situation where an ex contacted me while they had a new partner. So let me get back into this. Shape Your Future. What's up? I like the name. If anyone used Instagram as a way to come across this, please let me know. Give me some feedback. We don't act as friends, but when I bring up the topic of getting back, okay. Okay, I lost my spot here. Sorry here. My ex FaceTimed me last night. Same ex the last time he called to hang out. He said he got a girlfriend. Then I was like, why am I here? Okay, my question, Petty Betty, would be: did he call you or you called him? What was the intention of the call? And were you hoping that you would get back together, or what? How long have you been broken up? See how there's so many dynamics to this. Brandon Salsa. Yeah, me and my ex been hanging out for 6 months. We dated for the last 2 years, but now all of a sudden she's distant. What would you do moving forward to reattract her? If you've been hanging out for 6 months and you haven't attracted her yet, maybe she's not attracted to you. What you've created is a playbook. So this is going to be in my book. We dated for the last 2 years. So Brendan Salsa, if you dated her for the last 2 years, and when you say dated, does that mean you were officially together? Because this is one of those things that's interesting to me. When I say I'm dating someone, I don't necessarily mean that's my girlfriend. That means I'm seeing them. To me, that's different than being official. Okay, so please clarify that part. The idea that you want to reattract an individual you were with for 2 years and have been hanging out with for 6 months, the problem is they have typecasted you. They're saying Brandon Salsa is this, this, and this. And if you change in some way, it's going to throw them off and they're going to go, that's not you. That's not who you really are. And you literally need to take 2 steps forward, or 2 steps back from this. Stop hanging out with her. Don't be available. Do some things you're proud and privileged to do. Date some other women and create some higher value. Be scarce would be my advice. Trying harder would probably push her more and more away. Brandon, if you wanted to unpack this further in a coaching session, I needed more details to give you a better, more tailored response. He's trying to have the control over everyone he's in touch with, it seems. You mean he's greedy? We don't act as friends, but when I bring up the topic of getting back together, she doesn't want that, just friends with benefits. How do I lock her down to a relationship again? Great question. Stupid concept. How do I lock her down? Well, that kind of phrase right there and that kind of mindset is woman repellent. No woman would go, oh, I can't wait till he locks me down. Oh, I can't wait to, I mean, your outlook on that is unattractive. Except, I mean, we act as friends, but when I bring up the topic, we don't act as friends. But when I bring up the topic so stop bringing up the topic. It makes you look needy and weak and low value. Keep going out, be unavailable. Have some times where this is going to sound weird. Have a couple times where you're not available. She hits you up. She's like, yeah, let's go out this Friday night. You're like, yeah, I got plans. What creates higher levels of attraction is being unavailable, is not being someone that they can have at any point. Okay. If you want to re-attract her, I would add too, is she seeing other people? Are you seeing other people? We don't act as friends, but when I bring up a topic, okay, you said the same thing twice. What about you have to rebuild romantic emotional attraction to get back an ex? How does someone do that? Well, Mochi Perez, Mochi, is this a female name or a male name? I'm sorry. Here's the thing. Here's what's going to really be interesting to people. When you have an ex, you can do everything right. When you let me rewind this because this comes up in a similar situation. Someone was just telling me about, and I just did a small live stream on this about Get the Guy, Matthew Hussey or Hussey, which rhymes with what. Just because you do everything right to get the guy or get the girl, you read all the books, you do all things, you still can get rejected. I mean, there's still an ex out there that goes, yeah, no, like even though you do everything right, you still can get rejected, and that's the problem. You get all this information out there, you go to all these YouTube channels, myself included. I can give you a compass and a map. I can give you some pointers. I can give you a Swiss Army knife to get you through the forest and shit like that. It doesn't mean that you're going to still find an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. You want to know what really creates romantic emotional attraction? This is going to surprise some people. You want to know the number one thing? What do you think it is, Rob? What do you think it is, David? The number one thing that would create the number one thing that would create more romantic emotional attraction from a woman. What do you think it is? I'm curious. It's not you showing more attention. It's not you showing up with a fucking bouquet of roses or acting like someone from a movie. It's not The Notebook. Okay, it's not one of these things. It's going to surprise you. Unless you've read the books and looked at track. Even if you do these things, it still doesn't necessarily work. This is the thing about, oh, does this work? Here's the thing. You can do instructional videos on how to fix your computer. You can do an instructional video on how to change the oil from your BMW, right? It's like a friend of mine has 2 BMWs. I go, oh, wow, those are really high maintenance, man. I've heard those are expensive to service. He goes, dude, I went on YouTube. I do all this maintenance myself. I was like, Jesus, you can find everything on YouTube. Here's the interesting thing. How to get your ex back on YouTube. It doesn't work that way because every human being has free will and different emotions, life experiences. So it just doesn't work that way. So when people get caught up on the idea that, oh, what's the right way to rebuild attraction or to lock them down? If the individual does not want to be with you, if there's something repulsive about you to them, or you've created this case, and like I said, you were with them for 2 years. You created a case about who you are by what you did in those 2 years. So now that you're broken up and you're seeing each other for 6 months, they're still going to look at you as that person that you were for the 2 years. And no matter what you fucking do. And so that's why if you're going to rebuild your character and rebuild who you are, you probably need to take a step away from being their friend and go and do your own thing. But do you want to know what creates the most romantic emotional attraction? Does anyone know what it is out there? Especially for women. And tell me the truth on this, Petty Betty, because I respect your opinion and you're a woman. We've done live coaching sessions before. I know your character. I know you've had a few relationships. I know you know men pretty well. A guy that wants you, that really fucking wants you and showing you a lot of attention and is calling you and he's available and you can tell like this guy really wants me and he's a quote unquote good guy with a good job and he's kind and he's sweet to me versus a guy that you're attracted to isn't very available and seems like he's probably seeing other women because he's such a commodity and it's hard to figure out and he's not really available. And you know what? I might have to compete to get his attention. Think about that for a minute. I used to sell women's shoes. It's not the highest point of my life, trust me, but it was a great learning experience. I used to sell women's shoes at a very high-end department store in the States. I did this during college, and it absolutely helped me with people and different things. I was always outgoing and whatnot. Here's something really interesting, and this is in the women's department, by the way. And everyone, if you want to throw the Al Bundy jokes out there, I've heard them 1,000. Oh, the Al Bundy thing. No, I was selling, like $400 or $500 shoes, so it wasn't quite what Al Bundy did. But everyone always has that, like, oh yeah, that's what Al Bundy from Love with Marriage did. So I was selling women's shoes. I was a pretty good women's shoe salesman, by the way. But one thing I noticed, you ready? You got this is how you did really well at this job. It was Saturday or Sunday. There's a lot of people shopping. This is before COVID. This is like 20 years ago. I was 19, 20 years old when I did this. I did it for a few years, like I said, in college. Great job. Good money. Now, one of the things about the store was someone asked you for one pair of shoes, you bring out 4. So you always bring out different options. And most women would like this. Oh, those are nice. Oh, those are cute. Oh, those are okay. You bring out 2 pairs of shoes. If I was helping 2 clients at one time, so one would be on one couch, one would be on the other, which I could do because I was fast, I would put one pair here. The woman that was probably a bit more, like let's say we have 2 women sitting next to each other. Woman's that's a bit more attractive, that's trying on multiple pairs of shoes. The other woman would look at her shoes and go, do you have those in my size? Now, why was that? Because the other woman goes, wow, she looks really good in those shoes, right? But there's another part to this. Even worse, let's say I was like, oh no, those are the last pair in that size. You actually both have the same size. That individual would want those shoes no matter what. Order them, get them sent to my house. Because now the shoes became this rare, scarce commodity that was coveted by another woman. Think about that for a minute. The same applies to men. Now, can you have a long-term relationship like this? No. If you want to build a really strong level of attraction in a woman, if you have women around you that are showing you attention in a positive way, that look at you in a positive way, and another woman sees that, it will build your attraction level. It will re-attract that woman. You pandering to that woman, you being available all the time, you trying to figure out the right approach is probably going to turn her off because you're not very valuable. There's 1,000 pairs of those shoes. You're always going to be available. There's no expiration date on when I can get your attention. There's no mystery. There's no challenge. Does that make sense? So how do you do that? You actually care a little bit less, and it's a little bit more selfish. Okay. We don't act as friends, but when I bring up, okay, so you wanted to put that again. Does that answer your question, Brandon? What about does that answer your question, Mochi Perez? You tell her to get back to touch and when she's ready and then go no contact. Did they last, Mac? What's that question in regards to, David? Can you refresh my memory? I had an ex hit me up while in a relationship, and she ended up cheating on her partner with me. And afterwards, it completely turned me off, and I never spoke to her again to this day. Well, it takes two to tango, Todd. You got to roll in that. I don't have a problem with it because it happens all the time. You have to be, someone told me about this recently. It's a good friend of mine. He said he was seeing a colleague of his, very attractive woman. I knew the woman. It was the hottest woman in the office per se. There's always someone, whether it's a guy or woman, and everyone goes, "Oh, this is," everyone that works there thinks they're a good catch or highly attractive, right? And he was seeing her and he was like, yeah, we'd hook up and then she'd go back to see her boyfriend. Now, some people would look at that and go, wow, I like that arrangement. Some don't. This shit happens all the time, Todd. And you can participate or not participate, but you got to know this. It's a choice. So the idea that, oh, this is wrong, this is morally wrong. No, it's still your choice. The idea that someone was doing that at that point, and you said, you know what, I don't want to do this long term. Good for you. There's many videos, books, and you need to know to develop trigger attraction. She sounds spiteful. No bueno. For what you're asking, you should look into certain PUA attraction building methods, not the malicious side of PUA, but the side that deals with the reality of psychology. Okay. A good book to start with is The Game by Neil Strauss. If you're into the PUA thing, shape your future. How are you going to shape your future? Shape your future. Yamel Brighter, how are you? A couple, yes, my bad. Thanks, my man. Much appreciated. I will do that for sure. Petty Betty, I think he called last night because it was his birthday and one of his friends from here came here to Myrtle Beach to celebrate and he wanted to see my face. Well, he still has feelings for you, I'll tell you that much. Oh, Johnny, what's going on, my friend? How are you? New Jersey's finest. Holding down the East Coast. Mochi Perez, female. Okay, so to me, the idea of what I said earlier to rebuild romantic emotional attraction as a woman, I think is different than a man. And anyone in the live stream could say this. I think if you want to rebuild emotional, you said you put a lot of words in there. Rebuild romantic emotional attraction. Be seductive. Somebody, oh, what do you mean? Dress sexy. Am I wrong, Tommy Willis? Or men, if you got a nice pair of heels and a short skirt on and you're looking your best, or you're in some kind of attire that he's highly attracted to, you are going to get his emotional, intimate attention in the moment. That's just reality. Someone might go, oh, that's not who I am. That's not, I'm just telling you. Have you ever seen the movie Grease? The old one with John Travolta? Is everyone too old for that or too young for that? I'm really showing my age here. My mother loved the play Grease, and John Travolta's like he's 20 years old. At the end, so John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John. If you guys want to go back and look at this, they're in high school. He's a bad boy guy that's in one of these like greaser gangs, and she is a great student, very innocent, sweet, beautiful. So they're polar opposites, right? She's very conservative. So he changes and becomes more conservative, becomes a Letterman jacket, and she changes into something that at the end of the movie, she shows up in black leather pants, high heels with a low cut top, and she's looking hot with two T's. And what I'm saying is women underrate the idea of seduction. It's like if you look at women that do really well with men, and I'm not saying that you just need to be a hoe, that you just need to just like put it out there all the time, but to dress in a way that's seductive, to act in a way that's seductive, is really going to spark. And here's the thing with a woman, you could spark that much quicker probably than a man could spark that in another woman. Correct me if I'm wrong. Men can be seductive too, which reminds me of what? LOL. I don't know what that's in regards to. I read his book before he got on YouTube. Whose book? Indifference, Space, Time. Who are you talking about, Petty Betty? I feel like you're a professor. LOL. Well, thank you. Maybe that's true. T Silva, indifference. Welcome, T Silva. What was the question? I like the challenge. It here, Petty Betty's saying, I like the challenge, right? If you have a guy, Petty Betty, right? Like I said, you got some life experience. You're in your 30s. You've been with a few guys, not too many, not too little, just right, Petty Betty? Isn't at a certain level, there's initial attraction to any. As a man, I'm initially attracted to a woman's looks. Okay, that's the spark to the flame. But as you sit down and you talk to someone, you can become more attracted due to their personality and whatnot. And I will say this: men sometimes get caught up so much in attraction, intimacy, and doing whatever it takes to please the woman, where they think that they watch some movie with Prince Charming and they go, oh, yeah, this is what women really like. It's actually not true. They like a challenge. They like to know you have some kind of value and that other women want to hook up with you. I will start no contact moving forward. Thanks, man. That's probably your best bet. And when you go into no contact, Brandon Salsa, don't wait around for this woman. Start dating other women. Go on bad dates. If she feels like she's the only show in town, she can have you whenever she wants. You have no value. I'm not telling you to rub it in her face that you're seeing other people or seeing other women, but she needs to feel like there's some kind of competition or challenge out there. She needs to feel like you're a catch. And you need to feel the same way. And if you're sitting there and you have one-itis and you're sitting there, oh, nothing's working. Well, the fact that you're focusing on one woman when there's billions in the world is probably one of your problems. My cousin did too. We teased him and called him Asian Al Bundy, but I know he doesn't wear suits to work if it was Al Bundy. I was wearing a suit. I liked wearing a suit too. And I'll tell you something about wearing a suit. People treat you different. And it's like they immediately think you're in business with something really high. My office doesn't have any hotties. Well, change your office, shape your future. Mochi Perez, if I'm the dumpy female and ex-dumper is male, it still works for opposite sex being scarce and increasing value during no contact. Got it. Well, as a woman, Mochi, send your story into into my writemac.com or Coach Mac McCarthy. My website's up. My new website's up. Mochi, send in your whole situation of what happened. Email. My website's up, but we're still some rough edges here. Anyone that's interested in doing breakup coaching in the future, I'm going to have profiles available on my website. Going to become a better person for myself, and we'll see if we can get back together again. Okay, those are two separate objectives. Shape your future. Shape your future. I would say, like, you should just become a better person for myself. That should just be your fault. We'll see if we can get back together again. What was the problem? Shape your future. Because Mochi Perez, I like I said, my advice wouldn't be just be scarce and increase your value during no contact. I want to know why did the person break up with you, and why do you want to get back with them? Would be a start. Can no contact work twice? Yes. The problem that I always have that makes me fucking cringe is when people go, when does no contact work? Because you're asking in regards to getting your ex back. No contact, and this is for the people in the cheap seats, because I've said this a fucking 1,000 times. And this is no offense to you, Brandon. I feel like I've said this many times before. No contact is for you. If your ex comes back, it's a bonus. No contact, worst case scenario, you're moving forward. You're eliminating the hurt and pain of being in contact with someone that doesn't want you or like you in the moment. And no contact works best When you take an honest self-assessment of your life as an individual, you look at things that you control, such as your job, your health. Oh, I don't control my health. More than you believe. More than you believe. Exercising and eating healthy are going to seriously reward you in a lot of different ways and your health. Job. Do you like your job? It's okay. Okay, so this is some place you spend 8 hours a day out, 5 days a week, many times in the world, and it's just okay to mediocre. I mean, I'll never forget this. This guy's going on. He goes, "Oh, my ex is a kindergarten teacher and she's a yoga instructor. She was the best. She was this. She was loving. She was caring. Who are you? She's a great catch. Are you a great catch?" So I said, "What about your job?" Because I mean, a lot of people identify people through their jobs and how good they are. Like right now, I'd say America, one of the most prestigious things you can be is a fireman because of 9/11 and different things like that. They're in good shape. They save people's lives. The list goes on, right? It's a prestigious position, same as a doctor. Someone meets someone that's a doctor and their jaw drops and goes, "Wow, I'm impressed," immediately, right? So, I mean, this guy was saying kindergarten teacher, yoga instructor, she's impressive. So my question was, what do you do for a living? Oh, I do such and such. I think it was like some kind of insurance adjuster or something like that, right? And he goes, "It pays the bills. It's pretty good pay." Okay, so she's looking at you and going, "Oh, he's an insurance adjuster that has a pretty good job that pays the bills." So why don't you create something in your life where someone goes, "Wow, this guy's a fucking surf instructor and a dive master, and he does uh, insurance-based things." He's looking at it like he lost something. The reality is, how do you put yourself in a situation where you become a better you? And it's a cliche statement. Take a self-assessment on your life. Where am I at in my life? Where do I want to improve? If I was playing to win and not playing not to lose, which a lot of people do in a breakup, oh, how am I not going to lose them? The reality is you play to win by putting yourself first and you bet on yourself. And you say to yourself, "I'm going to come out of this. I'm going to be better. I'm hurting now. I'm licking my wounds now. I'm taking inventory and I'm going to do better, be better. And I've been through worse." I'm in a finance office. Sounds great. Shape your future? Does that excite you? Number one question you ask about your job or your career: am I proud and privileged to do it? If you're not proud, if you go, "Well, I don't really like it, but it pays well," that's just eating bits of your soul like rats on a cheese log. I just emailed you. Haven't been on that in a few days. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Men wearing a suit is sexy as fuck. Petty Betty says, "It's true. When she knows she can have you anytime she wants, there's a good chance she won't want you at all." Rob, do you feel like it's the same for a woman? So, for example, I think that's absolutely true as a man, that if a woman feels like she can have you anytime, anywhere, no matter how good looking you are, no matter how much money you make, it's a turnoff. Period. Period. Why is it that women are highly attracted to artists? A guy that plays the guitar or paints a canvas. A lot of artists are free spirits. They don't give a fuck. They don't put partners usually on a pedestal. They put their art first, and they're proud of privileged to what they do. And they're hard for a woman to figure out. It's like, wow, this guy's not all over me. I can't even describe what I like, but I'll know it when I see it. That's the kind of best way I think I can explain my thoughts on this. This is so true. I'm on an opinion men are more attracted when they have unique qualities. I'm My opinion, men are more attracted when they have unique qualities. I think one in No More Mr. Nice Guy, he says women are attracted to your rough edges. Um, yeah, I've noticed that women that are hung up on a guy, because I'm obviously doing breakup coaching, not just a breakup, but they're dating someone and they can't figure them out, and they're like, "I don't get it. He's a bit mysterious." I'm like, "That's why you like him. You can't figure him out." Her feeling appreciated during our relationship. You probably get this a lot, but if you're in no contact and and his birthday is coming up in 2 months, do you reach out? It's probably the number one question. If you let this special day go by and never reach out, is it effective in your favor? I would never use saying happy birthday as a bridge to getting back together. You're putting yourself in a situation for a letdown. If you want to wish someone a happy birthday like you'd wish me a happy birthday where you have no attachment to it, go ahead. The idea that it somehow is so significant that they will want to get back with you or date you again is probably a very small percentage rate. If you say happy birthday, you say happy birthday to say happy birthday. And I just have a video coming up that I'm going to talk about that, but that is a number one question asked, Mochi. So it's not a crazy question. People ask me all the time and they somehow feel like it's going to be an in. And I think you're letting yourself for a letdown. That being said, it can be, it can work. You want to be in a position, if you do ever contact your ex, where you're indifferent to the response. If they go, you know what, I don't think it's a good idea to meet up. You go, okay. Oh, that's what you're talking about. LOL. You're kind of like me. It's not only about their looks, but they do have to be attractive. But it's like interaction. Yeah, like what you said, vibe. Definitely not proud and privileged to do it. It wasn't the reason why it fell apart. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so shape your future. You haven't been on the show before. I don't think, or the live stream. So welcome. Thanks for participating. Thanks for sharing your take and what's going on with you right now. Here's the interesting thing. Whatever happened in your breakup is separate than your job. But here's the crazy thing. It will affect your relationship. So if you're doing a job and you don't feel, and you say definitely not proud and privileged to do it, then it's going to affect your happiness with yourself. It's going to affect your confidence. It's going to increase your insecurities because you're actually doing something that's your body of work that's part of your identity, right? So, for example, if I'm at a cocktail party or something like that. I use this example of cocktail parties. I don't even go to cocktail parties. I think I've been at one that would equate to that in like a year. But you understand what I mean? A social function and a Christmas party, which probably aren't going to be on this year because of COVID, but whatever. You go to a social function, you're meeting new people, you're mingling. What's usually the number one question people ask you? Shape your future. Not your partner, but someone you're meeting for the first time. Where are you at in the world? Shape your future. What's the number one question they usually ask you, Petty Betty? You're at a social scene. Besides, what's your name? What do you do? This is cultural, by the way. If you're from Vancouver, BC, beautiful place. I love Victoria. It's one of my favorite places in the world. It's the most common question, okay, in the Western world, especially the States or Canada, right? It's the most common question. It's a part of your identity. If you feel like I'm not proud and privileged to do that, you have a little piece of your soul that's getting eaten up. And when that question comes up, it creates insecurity. And so I'll give you an example. I was a residential real estate agent in the Bay Area. Actually, not a bad job, pretty good job. Would have made a lot of money if I stuck with it. For some reason, and I've talked about this before, I wasn't proud and privileged at the time of that job. I just wasn't. It would come up, like, what do you do? And I just felt this like, I don't even want to share this. And this is a job where you need to tell everyone what you do. I made good money. I was good at it. I brokered deals. I sold houses. I got good checks. Something about it, I wasn't proud of it. And part of it was the colleagues I worked with, I felt like were shady in some ways. Not all, not everyone. I'm not going to drape that on everyone. And the reputation of people in that field was pretty bad at the time. So that bothered me. When I became a teacher, so you were right in the sense that you thought I was a professor. I teach at a university here in Phuket, Thailand. Someone asked me now, what do you do? It's like a millisecond. It's like I'm a teacher. Now, if we get deeper into it, I also do breakup coaching. The reason I don't throw breakup coaching out there right away, it throws people off because people think you're some kind of traveling salesman when you say breakup coaching. So when you have to, and then you say YouTube and someone goes, oh, you're a YouTuber. No, I help people with their breakups. You kind of have to explain it, right? That being said, I'm very proud of what I do. And it ties in to you and how you are in your relationship and how you are when you break up. Because a lot of times the pain in a breakup is elevated by how you feel about yourself as an individual. Does that make sense? And how you feel about yourself as an individual is directly tied to the job you do every day, or if you don't have a regular job, what your purpose is. Whether that might be a charity, whether that might be staying at home with your child, being good at your job and being proud and privileged to do it. So, at your job, I assume that you probably, if you're in finance, you make good money and you're probably good at it. I totally agree. My work performance went down and my discomfort at my job was more obvious. Well, you don't like it anyways. And probably what happens when you're in a relationship and you're getting love and joy from a partner, or a mediocre relationship where you just have support, you just go, oh, I'll just keep this job because it's part of the comfort thing. The great thing about a breakup is it's time to reassess your life as an individual and figure out what you want to fix. And one of the quickest things you can fix as an individual is probably your health, example, exercise and eating healthier, and your job. Where are you putting it? Oh, I can't quit my job. I'm not telling you to quit your job tomorrow, but you could have a plan in 6 months to a year to really go for what you really want to do. And that'll make you more attractive. Because when you talk to someone about your job and your everyday workings and whatnot, you're not going to feel like it's boring or it's this. I have a friend right now that owns a big company. He never talks about the company because they sell, I think it's some kind of gas, this, that, and the other. I've known him for years. Good friend, good business, good money. I don't know if it's a proud or privileged business. I think he's proud of what the business has become, but it's not very conversational. Excuse me. Did you hear that? I actually did not eat this morning, which is not normal for me. I usually have a huge breakfast. I know a lot of people are into fasting now or intermittent fasting. It's not my thing. So we're an hour deep into this. I got 12 people on deck, 5 likes. Thanks for the likes, folks. There will be some new videos this month coming up about me in Phuket and different locations, talking about different breakup stuff. Let me know what you think about that when it comes up. If you want to join my Instagram account, it's Coach Mac McCarthy. If you want to book a live coaching session, go to writemac.com. If you want to send your story in. If you have any troubles with the current website, because like I said, we're smoothing it out right now as we speak, please feel free to email me at coachmacmccarthy@gmail.com. Any questions right now? My ex contacted me, but they have a partner now. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm going through the Rolodex of thoughts real quick here. And I did have one other incident or relationship where an ex contacted me after they had, I guess, not a new partner, but someone they were seeing. So this was my first serious girlfriend, which we were together for a little over a year. Broke up. I broke up with her. We continue to see each other, whether you want to call that friends or benefits, gray area, what have you. At the time, I wanted to have my cake and eat it too, be single and still see her. She warned me that wasn't going to be the case for much longer. She's a cute girl, good personality, wasn't shy. And looking back, it's funny laughing because when she started going out with a new guy, it hurt me. I remember thinking like, what the hell? Keep in mind, I was like 18, 19 years old at the time. I was like, I thought she'd just be around forever and be there for me. But she started seeing someone new and she told me about it. And it got my attention, but it didn't make me want to get back with her. It was to me, it was like, okay, that hurts. I don't like it, but I definitely don't want to continue to see you again. And so that was a choice because I still had feelings for her. And let me add to that, looking back, I just sent someone a really good email today about our coaching session. I said, hey, look, when you're dealing with first love and you're dealing with being in a first serious relationship or the first time you fell in love, it's a learning experience. What's the odds of staying with the first person you fell in love with in the 21st century? Probably like 1%, 2%. It's like riding a bike, learning about love, attraction, and relationships. And so somewhere in my thick head at the time was like, oh, I can break up with her and we could still see each other, and then I could see other women whenever I want. And this will be really cool. It was really selfish. It was really stupid. And at the time, she showed me that that wasn't the case. And she moved on. She moved forward when she saw someone else. Now, some other guy would have reacted like, oh, I just want to get her back because she's with someone else. People are different, right? At that time, that was a good wake up call for my next relationship that you don't do that. It was selfish. Is finance like investments? I would say yes. Tomorrow, I will be on at 7 p.m. Indochina time. And why won't my ex contact me is going to be the topic. 7 p.m. Indochina time. 7 p.m. Indochina time would be what time in Cali? I think it would be like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. So it's going to be the morning in the States for a lot of people. Wednesday, 2 days from now, I'll be on at the same time, 10:30 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, I'll be on at 10:30 a.m. Indochina time. Wednesday is going to be a guest appearance with Jessica, who's been on the show before, and she's going to share a very interesting breakup story. And the interesting thing, I've known Jessica for years, and we talk a lot, and that's why I've brought her on the show before. And I think people like the live stream she was on before. And we haven't fully unpacked her breakup. Yeah, I work with investments with high net worth clients. The other thing I've had to, or have some outside things. And then the other topics after that, we're just going to do breakup stories unpacked on Saturday and Sunday. So those are just going to be I'm going to share breakup stories and give my take. Any pressing questions here? Does everyone like this format for the next one? Had some new people on, I guess from IG maybe helped. Yes, I like the format. SMS Productions, what's up, mate? It's all good. So you don't like what you do? I will look at the schedule on your Instagram. Thanks, David. Yeah, this is going to help, I think, get people on deck. I think that the one that I think a lot of people will think is cool is when Jessica comes on and talks about her breakup. I think she was in a relationship for, was it 3 years, something like that? A lot of turbulence there, though. Brash Cat. What's the title of the Jessica episode? The title's going to be Brash Cat. Jessica's breakup story. It ain't great, not a lot of appreciation, no job opportunity and advancement. Are you serious? Shape your future. This is a very interesting question. Brash Cat, David Jeffers, SM Productions, Mochi, go ahead and answer me this. If you could do anything, no limitations in the world, that was a job that actually entailed work, what would it be? I'll give you mine. And I'm working towards it right now. I'll give you mine. I'll give you what mine was. Equity research would be your dream job. Start a school. What kind of school? I mean, when I say this, a really good film editing. Really? I could use a film editor, federal agent, which I'm working towards at the moment. That scares me when I see that. But I'd like you on my side. I'd like to go. I got someone in the FBI who I did a coaching session with. He looks out for me. Write books, best-selling author, and work in production, documentary. Really? I've actually had a client, David, it was so funny because we were, in a coaching session, you talk about personal things. One of the good things is you can kind of get to know who I am through YouTube. And most people say, you seem genuine, Mac. And that's why I chose to talk to you and unpack some things. And then we'll get into things. And people will go, I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm like, well, that would be best. I'm not going to tell anyone, right? It's between us. But this one lady that I was doing a session with, the guy that she was dating was FBI, career FBI. I don't know his title, but I was like, he probably knows who you're talking to and doing now. I was just kind of funny because I was like, really? And like I said, he was high up somewhere on that ladder, and it kind of throws you off. The original episode with Jessica in it? Ah, man, I don't know what it's titled. That's a good question, dude. I think it says something about a female perspective. Something about a female perspective. It was within the last 2 weeks. She's been on twice, but the first one might have been better. So you'd like to do equity research? I thought finance is money. Start a school. What kind of school would you start? Film editing. I just, like I said, I just got former student of mine who's graduated, and it's pretty tough to find jobs right now. So I said, hey, look, you can come on as my assistant. And he loves working with the camera. He's an amateur, but he loves working with the camera and video. So if you've seen my latest video, I got a new intro that's pretty cool that he did. And I got someone to actually go around with me now to the beaches and whatnot. Like I said, there's going to be videos of me being in different places. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I've been wanting to get someone to do the camera work for a while. Write books, best-selling author, work in production, documentaries. Do you do that already, Mochi? Or where are you at in the world, Mochi, if I may ask? Why? I'm just curious, David. If you're a federal agent, what would be your specialty? Like you know, like narcotics or one of these things. Do you get to pick that? It's like me being a teacher. I definitely have found I want to teach I like teaching at the university level and teaching public speaking and creative writing. Public speaking first. That's my favorite class by far. I'm doing it right now. Actually, hopefully next year won't need a second job. Good for you, SMS Productions. Do you have a website you want to share or something like that you do film editing? Or Mochi, what would be your first book? I have my book in my head. I just don't have it out on paper yet. Brash Cat's actually in SoCal also. Petty Betty's at the Office Task Force that you're assigned to. First book would be my memoirs. Okay, so a really good book. I don't have it in front of me. Ah, man. Something Zinsler. Right. I gotta look that up. It's gonna bother me because it's exactly what you'd be looking for, Mochi. Okay, stay with me, folks. Let me see if it'll let me put this in here for you. The person that wrote that, Writing Well, William Zinsser. Good book. Definitely look at that. I want to start a historical society for my town to preserve and record history. We'd love to open a museum too. I'm a history major, Mochi, but I don't know if I'd want to do that. Good for you. But if you're into your memoirs, I don't even know if I said that correctly. That would be a very good. That's just a book review, but that book would suit you down to the boots. Actually, if you just visit my page, all my work is on there. Mainly just do stuff for my coaches, MMA gym. Okay, cool, sweet, man. Yeah, I have a good. I think that things with video and film are going to be the future. I have a client that I met in San Diego in college, and I was living down there. And he's actually doing film editing. That's what his passion was when he was a student. He just stuck with it, mastered it. I think it's Full Circle. Full Circle. He's got some really cool videos on his website. If you guys, I've mentioned this before, I think a really cool thing to do if you are going to look at what you want to do as an individual is something called an ikigai. It's a Japanese thing. It's a simple diagram, and you can use that diagram to and you know what I would say, another great book, if you're going to look at this, is Mastery by Robert Greene. I mean, this is just a great book. I think that you really want to look at so for mastery, I've unpacked this before, but we got a few people since we talked about what you want to do. And I think it's so significant to you being attractive to your partner and feeling good about yourself. Because a lot of what we face when we break up is our insecurities come to the surface because when you have a partner, you feel a little bit better that someone loves you and cares about you, even though you have insecurities. Does that make sense? So I think that once you're solo or someone breaks up with you, you feel like, oh my God, everyone's going to see my rejections now. Everyone's going to see all the shitty things about me. Brand new Skinner, Chi-Town's finest. NBA's back on deck, not on deck, back on deck. Man. So getting back to what I was saying, if you're looking at getting into something you want to do, look at your early inclinations. What did you like when you were really young as a kid? Another good book is How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big by Scott Adams. I mean, look at the things you really wanted to do that you were attracted to. And then look at how you can serve the world in some way. Look at what people tell you you do well. Tim Ferriss says, look at 3 things that you're in the top 25% in the world. And someone will be like, I'm not good at anything. Think about it for a moment. There's something that you're really good about. Wow, you got a lot of different things, Mochi. Here's an interesting thing. How can you combine a mix of different talents to be special or different, right? Love history and writing, but another thing, if I like to do, is forensic, solving cold cases. You can't, correct me if I'm wrong, you can't just do that as a hobby, right? Because what's your current job right now? That's like, in my free time, I do forensics work. Oh, no. You do forensics in your free time, or that's your actual job? Because I would think that you can study cold cases, right? You can watch documentaries on forensics and cold cases. I hope you're not talking about CSI, which I mean, I've known people that are in law enforcement and they say that's quite fake. CSI just seems, I don't watch TV like that. It's just too fake. You'd like to, okay. Thanks, Brash Cat. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate it. It's been a long journey, but guess what, dude? Things are about to heat up. I got a female co-host. We're gonna be doing. I got a schedule up. I got a cameraman. What else? I got a beautiful weather out here in Phuket, Thailand. I couldn't be happier where I'm at. So things are. I'm creating a system that we can have other coaches be profiled on the site that are approved by me. I never had a doubt, and I trust your fucking judgment, if anyone out there, bud. You missed the stream with Jessica. Shit. Well, she's gonna be on Wednesday. Oh, it's not cold here now, bud. It's never been nicer. You'll see the videos that come up. It's never been nicer, Rob. You got to come out to Phuket sometimes, bud. I don't know when they're gonna. They're saying in October they're gonna open up the flights. I was in California, probably that's why. Yeah, you got a lot of East Coast people here, huh? Too hot in NY? Ah, man, I can't handle cold weather anymore. I just, when I'm back home in California and it's not even that cold. It's not even that cold. It doesn't even snow where I go. I get headaches. I got to take hot showers 3 times a day. And the only time you wear socks over here is when you go for a run or go to the gym. Yeah, around this time of year, there's a big drop off. Cali was hot with fires, right? Too hot here. Humidity is very high. Wet clothes. Love the fall. Can't wait for it. SF at night in August is cold as well. That's what Mark Twain said. The coldest. Didn't he say the coldest winter he ever had was a summer in San Francisco? Something like that. San Francisco, I lived there for a brief time. I lived in the Bay Area, but I didn't grow up in San Francisco, and I lived near San Francisco State. And it's foggy, man. And I'll tell you what, fog and gloom, it does affect your mood. Absolutely. Anyone have any closing questions? It's about noon for me. We did an hour and a half. I think this was good today. It was a good topic. Mochi, welcome to the live stream today. Good to have you. If you want to send in your story to my website, rightmac.com, or if you'd like to go to Coach Mac at Gmail. SF State Gators, that's good knowledge, dude. How did you know that they're the Gators? It's not a very famous school. Friday nights are for making love. Okay. Tuesday works for me too. SF State Gators, yeah. Like when I was there, there was no sports program. I think the baseball team was okay to decent, but I mean the basketball was nothing. We didn't have a football team. SF State was basically a commuter school. Only the stream isn't on. Friday nights are for making love. Okay, what's today? It would be the response. You would freeze in Victoria now. Victoria is gorgeous. Oh my god, that's one of my favorite places. I've been there a few times. We got good family friends there that we met on the Campbell River when I was a little kid 30 years ago. Beautiful, 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 beautiful place. Any closing questions, folks? I'll give you 5 more minutes. Are we wrapping this up? Nope, no closing question. Thanks for the likes. How do you cope with the loneliness? Do more shit outside the house? Where are you most lonely? In your room? Get out of your house. Oh, it's COVID. Okay. Well, if that's the case and you're on lockdown, I understand. But loneliness is one of the biggest problems with loneliness is being in your room. So where do you feel lonely? Where do you feel lonely? And get out of that place. Change your environments. Also, embrace being alone. So, like I've talked about this before, when I had a breakup, I'd go to a library or a cafe and read a book and silence people, but not be alone things. So, the idea of being more comfortable in being alone is okay. And then seek out friends and family members that you can lean on. A lot of times, oh, I haven't talked to so and so in a long time, or I don't have this. I remember I had this one client. This isn't about loneliness, but she had some. She sent me an email. I didn't share this on YouTube because it was just so dark. Her story. Sometimes people send me some really dark things, and she was dealing with abuse. The boyfriend was abusing their dog. I mean, it was just bad. And so she goes, I don't have a good relationship with my parents. I have no one to turn to. I'm in a different country. And I say, hey, look at the person that you respect and that you're closest to, even if they feel distant, someone you worked with or a friend that you haven't reached out to in a couple of years, and give them the opportunity to be there for you. Give someone in your that you haven't touched base with. And this, I know this happened to me when I broke up, is I started reaching out to some people, and it wasn't like any of those individuals weren't my good friends or we ended on bad terms. It was just that we had just lost touch. And so when I was hurting and I was in a bad situation, those friends were there for me and they bubbled up and they showed who they were in their true colors. Because I'll tell you something, to be there for another human being, to help out a good friend is actually good for your friend. I mean, have you ever been there for someone or helped someone out and you feel good? And so you need to give some people the opportunity to be there for you. And it's not going to be your ex. Does that make sense? And if you're feeling like, well, I don't know who that would be, start reaching out to some people and make some plans to go out with some other people that aren't necessarily, romantic relationships, but people that you feel close to and that aren't going to reject you. All right. My phone's going off here. Hold on a sec. Here's one thing I was told by a hairdresser once. First thing a woman wants to do post breakup is chop their hair off drastically. They want to cut real short if very long. I don't think all women do that, but I do know some women that have done that, actually. I've heard that after pregnancy or during pregnancy too. What do you think that's from? Interesting. My hair is long, but I once sat in a hairdresser's chair and was told that I never forgot it. I definitely like long over short hair. Change. Just change. Just change. Okay, so I hope that helps you. I'll be on the live stream, like I said, 7 p.m. Indochina time tomorrow. It's been a slice. It's curtains.